So let me ask you a question. You're walking to a coffee shop, you order your latte, your espresso, or your cappuccino, and you pull out your smartphone or your tablet, and the conversation of the person behind you is more interesting than what's on the screen. You start to lean back like this and listen. This happened to me about 2 weeks ago. So I plop my butt down, I'm getting ready to read my tablet, and all of a sudden I hear this amazing conversation. I turn around, there's two young ladies, I'd say early 20s, and one of them says this. She said, you know, I'm kind of really depressed. She said, when I was younger, I thought adults had it all figured out. I figured that they had this knowledge, and when I finished university and I got a job, I'd get that knowledge, and then I'd be successful. She goes, well, I finished university, and I got a job, and I've been doing it for 6 months, and let me tell you, these people, they don't know, they're as confused as I am. She said, they don't know what's going on either. Now, I didn't turn around and give her the benefit of my thoughts, but I'm going to share them with you, and maybe if she's watching this TED Talk streamed live, she'll get to share what I believe as well. This is what I believe. I don't think there's a secret of happiness or a secret of success, but I truly believe this, that you can set up a paradigm, you can set up a sense of awareness that you can gauge yourself. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So I'm going to share with you over the next little bit as a way to measure how you feel about yourself, about other people, and about life. Now, my dad was in the Canadian military. I moved to about 11 different schools by the time I finished high school. Who moved around a lot as a kid? Okay. Well, I had one advantage most of you don't, and that is I was really good looking growing up. So who's good looking? Yeah, we have about 12 people here, all right? Of course, the rule of the good-looking person is you can't call yourself good-looking. So if you put up your hand and said, I'm good-looking, you're just not that good-looking, okay? And it's kind of like reputation. And if you walk around and tell everybody you're great, you're just not that great. We have a challenge in life that everybody tells us we got to promote ourselves. We got to be out there. We got to be out there on social media. We got to let people know who we are. But sometimes it just doesn't feel that good because it feels like you're trying to tell everybody how great you are and you were told you shouldn't be doing that. So let me show you how to get past that. This gentleman's name is Dr. Graham Smith, and I met him about 6 years ago. And he's a consultant in life sciences. Really smart guy. He's got a lot of degrees. And I said to him, what do you want as the brand of your company? And he's got this lovely Scottish brogue, and he goes, I don't know what a brand is. And I said, a brand is kind of like what you want people to say about you when you're not in the room. And he said, I want them to say they're good guys and you can trust them. You ever heard that phrase, call Steve, he's a good guy, he can help you out? Call Marie, she's amazing, she can help you out. And it really got me thinking about the concept of good guyness. And I've gone around the world talking about the concept of how to be a good guy without calling yourself a good guy. For example, people sent me pictures. This comes from a golf course in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. I was in Hong Kong. This gentleman was doing beautiful Chinese calligraphy. I always figured they're putting French fries and a burger down, you know, and charging you $50, right? But I asked his nephew if he would translate good guy into Chinese, and this is what he put, which is the concept of reliability. You can count on this person, and you can send them business. So wherever I go around the world, there's a word or a phrase, what we use for people that we think highly of, that we can send them business and speak well of other people. What does it take to be a good guy? Because if you can be a good guy, then you'll get the job, you'll get promotions, you'll get friends, heck, you'll even get a date. I believe there are 4 elements of what I call good guyness. We're going to talk about the 4th one today, but the first 3 are knowledge, experience, skill. You got to be an expert in something for somebody to send you some business. You got to get along with other people, their personality, not yours, and you got to have the ability to keep your word. But there's something else. It's what I call third-gear behavior. It is the ultimate stamp of approval on character. And what I'm trying to do is build a tribe around the world of people who can understand the difference between third gear, second gear, and first gear. So to understand third, we got to go back to first. Now I want you to picture this scenario for a second. I want to picture yourself on a highway, bumper-to-bumper traffic, brake lights as far as you can see, and it's gridlock. You ever been there? And you're impatient, you're late for an appointment. So there you are, you're trying to get ahead, and the stress is building up. Well, first gear is the gear of narrow self-interest. So somebody's trying to merge in, you let them in or not? Well, if you're in first gear, there's no way they're getting in there. So how do you stop that person from getting in? You get as close as you can to the bumper in front of you, and what don't you do? What don't you do? You do not look at them, right? No eye contact. Her water's breaking, she's 9 months pregnant. No way, should have left the office earlier like I did, all right? So that's first gear behavior. First gear behavior is my needs before anybody else. We see this every day in society. Go around the corner in a shopping center and you see this. And you know what you think, somebody was too lazy to push their cart back. You know what's neat about first gear is, if you let it go on in your family, or in your company, or in your community, other people start doing it. Because first gear leads to other first gear. Now, if you study philosophy or religion, you will understand that pretty well everything that they define as evil or a sin is a first gear behavior. It's I'm going to hurt you and take some of your stuff from me. Racism is first gear. Homophobia is first gear. Sexism is first gear. So most things that drive companies and communities up the wall is first gear behavior. This actually went up in a lunchroom in a company after I gave a lecture there. Please don't be in first gear. Either wash them or put them in the dishwasher. They do not belong in the only sink we all have to share. So isn't it great where people can hold each other accountable and say, hey, that's kind of first gear. Maybe we got to look at least second gear. Back to that highway again, bumper-to-bumper traffic, somebody's trying to merge in. If you're in first gear, do you let them in? No. If you're in second gear, do you let in? Well, second gear is external reward. So you do this. You always feel like the Queen of England when you do this, right? Feel very superior. You may go in. So you let them in. They pull in front. What do you want? Oh, you know you want your wave. You know you want your thank you. Wait for it, little hand goes up, yes, yes! So that's a second gear mindset, which is, I scratch your back, but then you need to give me something, in this case, appreciation. Honest day's work for an honest day's pay is second gear behavior, all right? You want to import your products into our economic works or our economic space, great, we get to do the same thing in your country as well. So it's quid pro quo. Nothing wrong with second gear. Economists believe you can explain human nature through incentive systems, which tend to be second gear. Here's a fascinating example of second gear. When I was in Hong Kong, I saw a bunch of ladies waiting to go up to Victoria Peak on the tram holding parasols. And I've shown this photo around the world. And for a lot of people who aren't familiar with the culture, they're confused why these women on a hot summer's day are holding parasols. Well, if you understand second gear incentives, you will know that generation after generation sees people work outside, like fishermen and farmers who don't make a lot of money. They have darker skin, and people work inside like merchants or royalty. They have lighter skin. So therefore, you start to see the origins of something like racism, which is light is rich and dark is poor. It has to do with money. So if you understand the second gear incentive system, then you're not so quick to judge people as goofballs. You can say, hey, I may not agree with what they're doing, but I understand where they get that behavior from. So there's an element of understanding second gear that allows you to break free. There's a danger in second gear is second gear also means eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. You insult me, I'm going to insult you. You park in my driveway, I'm going to let the air out of your tires. So the danger, the flaw of second gear is if I don't get paid for doing a job, I'm not doing that job again. If I don't get thanked for letting that car in, then I'm upset at that car. Not only am I upset the car didn't thank me, but he's an idiot in a pickup truck. You know, all those people in pickup trucks are idiots, and next time you see a pickup truck, he's an idiot too. So it creates a stereotype. I heard the Dalai Lama say, we can choose to let circumstances in our life harden us and make us more resentful and angry. If you live a life in second gear, inevitably you get resentful and angry because sooner or later you don't get your thank you wave. Then he went on to say, or we can choose to let the same circumstances soften us and make us kinder. So let's talk about what I teach, which is third gear behavior. Third gear behavior is intrinsic reward. Picture that scene again, bumper-to-bumper traffic, brake lights as far as you can see. If they're in first gear, you don't let them in. If you're in second gear, you let them in, but you want your what? You want your wave. If you're in third gear, you let them in. Now, don't get me wrong. I let a lot of people in, and sometimes they get a wave. Makes me feel good. You all need waves. You need a job. You need money. Sometimes we need a pat on the back, all right? But sooner or later, if you let enough cars in, somebody's not going to say thank you. And now, for the first time in your life, you're not going to get upset. You're not going to feel shortchanged. Why? Because you're going to say to yourself, oh, well, it doesn't bother me. Why not? Because you didn't do it for the wave. You did it because that's who you are. You're trying to be an amazing woman. You're trying to be a good guy. Intrinsic reward is third gear. It comes from within. It means you're trying to do the right thing. There's 9 million reasons why that person never said thank you. Yeah, they could be a goof, or they could be on the way to the hospital to pick up their daughter who is going through some tests for cancer therapy. They don't even know you exist. If you attach what you do, if you attach your emotional output to the emotional outputs of people around you, I guarantee it's a recipe for unhappiness. Third gear is a very independent mindset. It means I'm going to try and do the right thing no matter what people around me try and do. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Wait a minute. Nice guys finish last. I'm going to be out there and I'm going to be in third gear and people aren't going to help me. Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being a nice guy. I'm talking about being a good guy. Let me show you an example of the reward that can happen with a good guy. This happened a couple of months ago. I went through a drive-thru. Who goes through a drive-thru? Okay, went through a drive-thru, and this is what the girl at the microphone said. Can I help you today? I said, I'd like a large coffee with milk, an end of suffering around the world, and a big smile. She goes, say that again, please. I said, I'd like a large coffee with milk, an end of suffering around the world, and a big smile, please. And she goes, drive through, please. So I drove through, and she hands me a coffee. I said, what do I owe you? She goes, nothing, it's free. Oh yeah, you're all clapping, you're going, this is worth the day. This is worth my whole TEDx adventure. Because I'm going through a drive-through now, and I'm getting free coffee. Ah, but you're in second gear. You're thinking, I'm going through a drive-through because I'm going to get a free coffee. That's an expectation of reward. And you're going to go through that drive-through, and you're going to say something funny, and sometimes I say something funny, and I don't get a coffee. But you're going to not get a coffee, and you're going to go, well, that didn't work, and you'll exit that drive-through in first gear. So here's the secret. Third gear means when you get the free coffee, it's a pleasant side effect of you being you. It's not the focus of you being you. The real reward for third gear is people and other people understand it will want to connect with you. Good guys refer business to other good guys. Amazing women refer business to good guys. Because it's paying it forward pays the bottom line. You put more out there than you will ever get back. The only way you can sustain that is you don't do it for what's coming back. It's a numbers game. So let me finish with this. I was in the military for a few years, and sometimes it upsets me a little bit when I see the media tag everybody in uniform as a hero. You ever hear that? All soldiers are heroes, all police are heroes, all firefighters are heroes. I don't believe that. I believe that policemen and firefighters or soldiers are human beings, and they're just like everybody else. All three gears exist in every tribe. What I do believe is this. Heroism is behavior. It's not a tribe. True story. This gentleman hired me for a few talks. He owns a very large company in Toronto. He's from Israel originally. And he told me the story after my talk about him and his wife vacationing in Egypt. And while they were chatting over coffee, their 3-year-old son got up and tottered away without them noticing it. He fell off the pier into the water. And the waiter who worked at the hotel jumped in the water and saved his son's life. Everybody was very happy. His wife was crying. And the next day, he walked back to the hotel with an envelope. He found Isaac. And he said, I'd like you to accept this. And Isaac said, what is it? He says, it's a reward for saving my son's life. He said, I don't want it. He said, but it's $5,000. And at that point, he told us $5,000 would be about a year's salary for him. And he said, remember, he's Egyptian and I'm Israeli. He said, we've actually fought wars against each other. He said, I don't want it. He said, but why don't you want it? He said, if my son fell in the water, would you not jump in and rescue him? So if you want to see the definition of true heroism, is somebody looks embarrassed when they get a reward because they didn't do what they did for a reward. They did what they did because it was the right thing to do. In a society now where we're told everything has to do with Twitter followers and Facebook friends and getting points and getting everything, isn't it refreshing sometimes just to go out there and say, I'm going to try and be a good person. And if I get a reward, that's great, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because that's the person I want to be. What I offer to you is this. You have a choice in life to act in first, second, or third gear. I can't tell you which one to act in, but if you choose 3, then there will be many, many people out there who will seek the company of heroes, and you'll be one of them.